No, nope, sorry. No music. I know. I like to work with music on, but I can't do it because it will raise a copyright flag and I will not be able to monetize this video. And why does that matter? Because that's how I get paid for doing this. And you never know when one of my dumb ideas is going to go all over Facebook and the rest of the internet, and then next thing you know it, I'm out a whole bunch of money. Okay, that's enough complaining. I want to show you what I'm working on today. I just finished making the video for the vinyl tubing cutter, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think it's kind of a neat little project, very simple. And I noticed that my bucket of vinyl tubing ends up with sawdust in it just from being in here. And so this is a wonderful little project. I don't think it quite makes the cut to be on my primary channel, but I still really recommend it. I love this thing. It doubles as a stool, a seat, whatever. And I also usually keep planer shavings. And that's what this lid is normally for. I like to have a bucket of planer shavings on hand to line the garbage can, for one, in case I dump who knows what type of liquid into it. Or also it's nice to have nice planer shavings for cleaning up spills and whatever else. So, all of this leftover cedar, which came from that what was that called? The stowaway stool. Yeah. I want to turn that into one of these nice little seat top things. And it's very simple. It's just a big circle and a smaller circle. I don't have enough material to do that, but I do have an idea, and I'll show you. And while doing so, I'll take some footage of using this goofy little miniature table saw, which I'm definitely pleased with so far. I recommend. I haven't really found any complaints. I put these holes in for the spikes. It worked out so that the spike is exactly in the center of the horse, so it doesn't matter which way the horse is, it will still go together without frustration. That's my goal in life. Reduce, minimize, actually altogether eliminate frustration. But isn't that everybody's goal? Okay, enough rambling and on with the project. First, I'm going to cut off all the male ends off of these. I think I'm going to finish it with teak oil. I finished the stowaway stool with teak oil, and it's just beautiful. Never really used it before. Well, I used it quite a few years ago for some project I don't remember. It wasn't what I remembered, though. It reminded me a lot of using shellac. Guess these are close enough to the same. I love this little thing. Not to sound as though I'm all old and experienced, but one of the things that I do now that I didn't always do when I was younger was to make a dry fit first before I do a glue up. And that way I have everything that I need ready to go in the moment, because when you're gluing you have to move quickly. So now I have a pretty good idea how I'm going to do the rigging, and that saves a lot of time. Yeah, whatever, you still end up running around like a maniac. This, everything's difficult with one hand, so I apologize. You can see that all these scrap pieces that I'm using up, when it's flush there, I just have enough room to squeeze in my circle. So these are the pieces that I will be using. And I'm really starting to think, especially when I see the appearance, I might put like a little route, like a little quarter round route at the top. I have a feeling that this is going to be great, especially because I use this so much. It's very handy, and I'm thinking that I might use one in the greenhouse. So I might make another out of, well, this other leftover cedar wood that I have back here. Mrs. Pocket has expressed interest in having one of these bucket stools up at the greenhouse. Especially if it's made out of cedar, it would be a very nice look. I think sometimes we have a natural tendency to try to overlook things that have utility value. Like, we want to pretend as though we don't have buckets laying around or garbage cans or things like that. And instead of ignoring it, I would rather incorporate it into a smart design. And I can't stand those plastic bucket lids. They're awful. You can't stand on them or work on them or do anything useful with them. But this, I feel very safe standing on. And there's no reason that it can't support a lot of weight. So we'll see how it goes, and I would appreciate your feedback. Let me know what you think about this. We'll see how this project goes on the secondary channel. And if it's worth doing, maybe I'll make it into a proper video on my primary channel. Well, let's get started with the glue up. I'm just going to do some high-speed footage, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. So even though it's so important to get everything ready, you still always forget something. And I forgot to get these long clamps ready. This seam right here has no clamp pressure on it right now. that's exactly why you get as much ready as possible. Because there's always going to be that thing that's unexpected during a glue up. Look at that. See, that would have been a mess. And remember that thing I said about removing stress from your life? Well, get as much ready as you can during a glue up before you start to glue. It's easy to jump the gun. Oh yeah, and always use pilot hole when you use screws. When I was younger, I would skip out on that. I figured I could just force them together. Yeah, that's a mistake. Well, I'll let the glue dry, and then when I come back in a few hours, we will talk about compasses and other things, and it'll be wonderful. Alright, let's clean up this mess. And this is the fun part. Smarter than I look, huh? Actually, you wouldn't know. Ooh, it hasn't been long enough. Long enough for me. The first thing that I'm going to do is cut off these knots. I guess I'll use the bandsaw. And I have to cut the length down a little bit, and that way I can run it through the planer. But I think I'm going to let it set up a little bit longer before I put it through the planer. There, that's not so bad, is it? There's no rule that says that we have to use a plane. Although, they are nice. Lots of tuning, though. Okay, you may have seen this trick before. It's kind of common knowledge at this point. When planing a board like this, oftentimes there will be planer snipe that results where it's this unsightly mark where the planer blades dig in and make a little recess where they're not supposed to. And the quick and easy way to avoid this is we put a sacrificial board through first, and this prohibits the roller from dropping down and allowing it to gouge into our piece. And notice this when I'm running the planer, that I'll put this through first, and when it pops out, I'll bring it back around as this is coming through and put it in behind it. And you want a continuous line that's never broken, so that the roller can never run off the edge and drop down and leave the snipe in the board. I am not proud of this condition. But right now it's the best that I can do. And we're working on moving into a bigger house. Look at that! It cleans up like a new penny, doesn't it? Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make an about video for this, because this video that we're on right now is getting exceedingly long, and I have the suspicion that people don't like that. But also it will give me the opportunity to hear some feedback from you about this type of incredibly in-depth video and whether or not you find any value in it. I love the process of scrutinizing design. And this is not a case of that. This is a case of, I have a very small spot, look, that little corner right there. And it has to fit there and it has to function. And there are much better ones out there. I know John Heist did work on one of these, and so did Jay Bates did some work on one. And their setups are much better than mine. But I'll talk about that in the next video. And then I'll do a part 2 on finishing this bucket lid. And as I said, it will give me a chance to upload a series of slightly shorter videos and get some feedback from you. So I appreciate if you're actually watching this and if you find that it's not so incredibly boring. And I suspect that eventually I'll become accustomed to talking to myself. So thanks a lot and have a great day.